Tonight's film deals with the conflict of family experiences when their son discloses his homosexuality. Parental discretion is advised.
What you just saw was the content warning that ABC television ran before a 1988 broadcast of the TV movie Consenting Adult. And back then, even 2 decades after Stonewall and 4 decades into the history of network TV, sexual minorities were still a very fraught and uncomfortable topic for mainstream U.S. culture. To give you a sense of how uncomfortable a topic it was, here is the teaser or trailer that immediately followed that parental guidance warning.
How about double dating this weekend?
Maybe some other time.
A feeling he couldn't ignore.
That's what you want, isn't it?
I've been lying for 7 years.
A secret he couldn't hide.
I'm a homosexual.
What he's doing is wrong.
If it were anything else, you'd want to help him.
Sex between 2 men goes against the laws of nature.
And parents that couldn't understand.
Mom, I can't stand him making me feel like I'm a criminal.
Martin Sheen and Marlo Thomas in the critically acclaimed motion picture, Consenting Adult. Next.
So, the era was homophobic enough that the simple fact of a college student saying, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm gay," was material enough for an entire feature-length TV movie. And credit where credit is due, for the 1980s, it's a really good production. Now, even a decade later, in the late 90s, the sitcom Ellen got adult content warnings on most episodes showing Ellen's girlfriend Lori, even though the networks put no warnings on sitcoms about straight couples that included far racier content.
Okay, that's it. I would like to propose a toast. To my husband, Greg Montgomery, who, despite working his butt off for the past 10 weeks to put away a bunch of really bad guys, still had the energy to come home every night and make hot jungle love to his wife.
Thanks, dear.
No, thank you.
And these types of warnings were really common, because on 20th century TV, our mere existence, or the simple fact of someone coming out to somebody else, were deemed somehow dirty, adult sexual content.
Oh, God, there was something I was going to tell you. Now I forgot. What was it? Oh, yeah. I really like you.
Oh, and I really like you, too. I hope that you still feel that way when your parents hate me.
Oh, hate you? Why would they hate you? You're exactly the kind of person that my parents wanted me to end up with, except for the women's underwear.
So, why talk about this today in 2026? Well, on April 22nd of this year, the current regime in Washington and its Federal Communications Commission indicated they're considering adding parental guidance warnings and higher age ratings on shows that deal with, as they put it, quote, controversial gender identity issues, by which they mean just gender identity issues. And the document asks whether parents realize that children's shows and programs rated as, gasp, TVG, are allowed to, quote, contain the discussion and promotion of gender identity themes. The public has until June 22nd to comment. I think it's a safe bet that they're just testing the waters by attacking trans and non-binary people who the regime has already basically branded nonsensically as terrorists, but I'm sure they have a whole Gilead-style laundry list of vulnerable populations and issues that they're going to go after. And once an issue or group of people is included in the digital warning system, it will be possible for parents to block all shows dealing with those minority groups or topics. I guess if we're looking for a silver lining here, at least there are now enough shows with prominent trans or non-binary characters to offend the government, which in the era that I mainly study, which is 20th century TV, there weren't. There were very few such shows because the networks were trying really hard to pretend that trans people, and bisexual people for that matter, did not exist. Let's lighten the mood a little by ending this video on a completely ridiculous note with what is probably the longest queer content warning in the history of American television. It's practically a queer content apology, and we'll get to that in just a second. But first, if you want to know more about this topic, check out the second edition of my book, alternate channels, queer images on 20th century TV, and you can explore the hundreds of LGBTQ plus related video clips on my YouTube channel. Okay, here we go. Probably the longest content warning ever. In the early 60s, many stations affiliated with National Educational Television, that's the forerunner to PBS, aired a documentary about gay men produced by KQED in San Francisco. It was originally supposed to be called The Gay Ones, but that title was rejected and they decided to call it The Rejected. So, here's the station manager at the start of the show, hemming and hawing about why they're airing a program about such an unpleasant topic. For those of us watching it today, the best clue to how unutterable a subject same-sex desire was in 1961 is just how long it takes this guy to finally admit what the show is going to be about.
I'm James Day, General Manager of KQED in San Francisco. The program you're about to see deals with a subject which is controversial, delicate, and to some downright unpleasant. In dealing with this subject, we were mindful of the fact that it is surrounded by a good deal of sensationalism and morbidity. We were, however, equally mindful of the fact that a problem, however unpleasant in its proportions and natures, does indeed exist. It is the nature of our social system. In our convictions about the nature of the problem and its importance, we found that they corroborated our conviction about the problem and felt as we did that it needed to be discussed. Many of these people you will meet in the minutes which follow. One of them, the Chief Legal Officer of the State of California, has written us a letter which I would like to read to you. He says the problem of homosexuality is age-old. As to refuse to discuss this subject. It cannot be swept under the rug. It will not just go away by itself. And quite possibly, an objective discussion of this condition might lead to a broader understanding of the subject. This program attempts to explore the problem of homosexuality, to cast light into an area in which the shadows have long been deep.
And if you have memories of silly content warnings, share them in the comments.